Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lou Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. Please do not forget to smack that like, share, subscribe, and bell button. That way you're notified every time we go live, which our new schedule is Mondays and Fridays, 3 to 5, so Pacific Standard Time. So wherever you're at around the world, you can either watch us live or you can watch us on repeat. We also have a podcast that is now updated pretty regularly. So go check that out on SoundCloud. It's the best place to get it. Links are in the description below. If you really love the show, we have a Patreon link as well. So go check that out. We really appreciate the support. Just saw that not too long ago, we got Tom's Word Kid, who followed us over on Twitch. If you're not following us on Twitch, go follow us over on Twitch, just in case something goes terribly wrong with the YouTube stream. You can always rely on Twitch to be there for you. You guys, we have so much to talk about today. We're definitely going to be diving into the realm of UFO enthusiasts, Kristian Harloff. And normally Kristian is known for his insights to pop culture, movies, film, television. I've seen his show a couple times, not like I was like a diehard fan of his or anything like that. And somebody brought to my attention that he recently just got into UFOs, and he had an interview with Tim Gallaudet. And just the first 10 minutes of this interview shows how much of a useful idiot Kristian Harloff is. And I don't say that as a knock on Kristian Harloff, because I was the same useful idiot as well. It's looking like David Grush is a useful idiot. Tim Gallaudet could be a useful idiot. A lot of smart people fall for this stuff and repeat this information thinking that it's good information, but really it's just secondhand information that has not been verified by anyone. So we're going to dive into that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk about the Disclosure Rally of 13 in New York City, the new interview in The Guardian with Sean Kirkpatrick, Jack Brewer versus Uintah County, which was a very sort of underlying big win for, the whole UAP community as a whole. This idea of suppressing information that is clearly should be public information. And, when you mess with the bull that is Jack Brewer, you get the horns, and Jack Brewer won big time. And we'll dig into that a little bit. And Kirkpatrick turns out Grush's testimony is not urgent and credible, as when it comes to regards of alien bodies, reverse engineerings, and UFOs. But it is urgent and credible when it comes to something else. So we'll talk about that. And that's nothing new. That has been known since last year, but this whole urgent and credible thing has just been thrown and spun so hard in this conversation right now. It's every time I hear Ross Coulthart, he throws out that phrase urgent and credible in regards to Dave Grush and his testimony in the ICIG. And it is clear as day that his attorneys were not, whatever. We'll get into it. Diana Pasulka is now selling classes online. And we're going to first get into Representative Bob Kane talking. Okay, so this clip was put out, of course, by D. Dean Johnson. I've mentioned his name so many times on this show, so definitely go check it out. Let me switch to the old Lou Review studio cam here, and let me do this as well so you guys hear that when it comes in. So this is General Gregory M. Gallaudet. A lot of French last names in our military, interestingly enough. Gallaudet, Guillot, is Goff Italian? Matt Ford pronounces it Go, even though it's not Go. It's Goff. I know this because she confirmed that in an email to Jazz Shaw, and he relayed that information live on our show many times. Anyway, General Gregory M. Gouliot, who took over as NORAD/Northcom commander on February 25th, 2024, appearing before the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee on March 14th, 2024. And it says, quote, "I've gone into events at my joint base Langley Eustis, and I'm using that as a centerpiece of my 90-day assessment to see where NORAD and Northcom can and should do more, as the emerging unmanned craft capability outstrips the operational framework that we have to address it." So in other words, there are drones in the sky that our craft cannot handle, and our military hardware, our operational, the capabilities outstrip the operational framework that is in place. And that doesn't mean they're alien. That just means that they're looking at stuff that we don't have counters for. And this is a very interesting clip, because then this was turned around in the UFO community as some win or confirmation that, this general is talking about aliens, and he's not. And to me, that is as clear as day in this clip. But it's wild what people take and add their own belief system to. But let's listen to the clip.
Senator Kane, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to our witnesses for your great service. General Guillaume, I want to begin with you. My colleagues and I on this committee have recently discussed installation security with respect to drone threats at bases in the United States, recognizing that we're in an unclassified setting. What can you tell me about how Northcom is addressing this issue, and with what partners are you working this challenge?
Senator, Northcom, as part of my 90-day assessment, to tell the truth, the counter-UAS mission has dominated that so far in the first month. Of course, I knew it was an issue coming from another combatant command where we faced that threat in a very different way because of the environment, but I wasn't prepared for the number of incursions that I see. Gone into the events at Joint Base Langley Eustis, and I'm using that as the centerpiece of my 90-day assessment to see where NORAD and Northcom can and should do more as this emerging capability outstrips the operational framework that we have to address it.
And can you talk about other partners that you're working
Yes.
with? Because obviously there's sort of a law enforcement component of this.
So in other words, do cops know about these incursions? Are we making them aware that they need to be aware? That way we can get the local levels to start recognizing that this is an issue, not a UFO alien thing. Pat Calabria, thank you for the $3 super chat donation. We got it pulled up. What does it say there? Play something. I don't know. Says I can't see the meme. It's so small. Hold on a second. No, wait. No, not that one. Okay, let me see. Man. Yeah, I can't see it. Anyway, thank you, Pat Calabria. Appreciate it. Not to derail the show. So basically, is there anything in place? And this is this guy's first 90 days in the office, and he's saying that the amount of incursions in a lot of ways is mind-boggling. How many craft and balloons, and I'm sure there are drug drones running over the border. From what I understand, it's thousands a month. And it's just like, what do we do? How do we combat these drone systems? And how quickly can we put systems in place so that way these capabilities don't outstrip our operational framework? This is them admitting we have a massive hole in national security. And these orbs and these weird things that people are seeing in the skies, they're not aliens. They're either enemies, they're our stuff, which is also interesting, or they're complete misidentifications, or it could be terrorists for five. There's so many possibilities to what these things could be outside of aliens. Aliens is like the most fantastical, least likely thing in what people are seeing scenario right now, and what this general is having to answer for.
So who else is working with you on this problem set?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So primarily Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice along the border have the primary responsibility. That's who I'm working with there. In the interior, it's the services that have the responsibility for defending their bases. So working with each individual service, and then also, again, Department of Homeland Security and Department of Energy for specific critical infrastructure locations. Those are the primary ones that I'm working with.
Wow. So there you go. He just told you the border, so drugs and smuggling is an issue, and that's what I'm working with Homeland Security about. And then from an internal standpoint, the bases, the commanders, the generals, the people who are running all of our military bases and nuclear facilities and launch sites and aircraft carriers and submarines and jets. All of that stuff is also, that falls on the responsibility of those people. If it happens over your facility, you have to now report it up the proper chain of command, especially if you engage with it. It needs to be same day. They need to have it. So there you go. You know, they haven't even touched local law enforcement yet. They're nowhere near that yet.
Thank you for that. Now a question for both of you about
You know, and again, and it's linked to the War Zone article that we talked about, but mysterious drones swarmed Langley Air Force Base for weeks. Langley Air Force Base. The unidentified drones were such an issue that assets were called in from around the government, including NASA WP-57 high-altitude research jets. It's a problem, you guys. And I'm telling you, the moment that this story absolutely explodes, and I think we're getting close because this is getting serious now, is when these drone swarms are used in some kind of attack that either harms a major infrastructure facility, nuclear facility, infrastructure facility, and or, God forbid, people, like a very busy, you know, tourist destination or government building. I think that's when you're going to see the President of the United States address the issue of UAP and the new reality for American citizens. This is terrifying. Terrifying, and it's also, again, kind of comforting to know that I think a lot of these things are ours. There are toys. There are things that we are testing, a majority of them. And then I think 20 to 25% of them are our enemies, legitimately spying on us and gathering intel and information and possibly planning attacks against our old, crumbling, out-of-date infrastructure. And it only takes one massive event to really mess with how the United States functions. And there's multiple ways to do that one thing. Imagine if you did all of those one things at the same time, or 3 or 10. It's scary, man. It's a really scary shot. UFO Shane with a $5 donation. Thanks, bud. Says it's a cult, Lou. A cult, all of it, a cult. I know. I've been telling you for a little while now, you know, and you know, hosted spaces on fucking Skyfire News is that cult. That is the cult. You are adding to and continuing to grow that cult for other people. That's the worst part about it, you know? So like, that's what I was telling you a few weeks ago. Like, dude, it's all a cult, all of it. All of it. And I think the things that people experience, like yourself and myself, either we're mistaking something or we're having some kind of vision. You know, in my case, it was a whole barbecue of people that saw the exact same thing. So, but I also think it's very possible for a whole barbecue of people to get something wrong. Absolutely 100% wrong and misunderstand and misidentify something that they've never seen before. That is way more possible than future humans or sea people, you know, or Zeta Reticuli aliens, grays, the tall whites with blue eyes and ties to Nazi Germany. Like, all of them. All of them. All of them. So, you know, this is like, it was funny. I was having a discussion behind the scenes with a friend, and we were talking about, well, I'll just bring up the picture since oh, no way, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. We were talking about the 13-person disclosure rally and how they were witness to the rally. They were there and they felt really sad and they felt really bad for all of those people there. And at the same time, angry at the cultists that put them there, the leaders, the cult leaders that said they were going to be there. And I have not seen one photo of Danny Sheehan. I've not seen one photo of Jeremy Corbell, and I've not seen one photo of Dave Foley at this rally. Not one interview, nothing. So where were they? That's my first thing. You know, you got all these people excited to come out in the middle of fucking March in New York City when it's freezing fucking cold every single year at this time of year. Freezing. And yesterday, I heard, was a particularly windy and chilly day. So you got a turnout of, I think somebody said it was 30 people. Congratulations. Did Chuck Schumer come out and say thank you or talk to any of you people? Did any of your cult leaders show up? I have a feeling, this is my guess as to why those guys didn't show up. Like, where was Knapp? Where were all they? It's so fucking important to them, right? They're the leaders of this discussion, yet they can't show up for this. Here's how I think it went down. Just my guess. I think Dave Foley and Jeremy Corbell met at a coffee shop somewhere downtown close to the rally before, and they started walking down the street. And then they got to the block, and they looked around. They were wearing shades and probably hats and a hoodie because it was cold as shit, and said, is that all that's there? And I promise you they came later than everyone else because they have to they're the stars, right? They can't be there first. God forbid they be there first because they're the spokespeople for this stuff. They're the advocates for this stuff. They won't be there first. They'll check out the scene and immediately say to themselves, oh, fuck, we can't be seen at this. If there's pictures of us with this crowd, whew, that could do some damage. Especially to Dave Foley. I would have, your belief doesn't go that far, my friend? Or did you have something to shoot or film? That's also possible too. Maybe he had something else that he had to do. Another responsibility that came up as an actor or opportunity. I totally understand that. But as of now, I have not seen a photo or a reference or, hey guys, how'd it go? Sorry we couldn't make it. Here's why. Just fucking ghosted the disclosure rally of 30. That's what your heroes did to you. Said they were going to show up and then bailed when they got there because it was too sad. And they didn't want to be seen with something so sad. But I promise you, if there was 100 people there, if there was 200 people there, if there was 500 people there, and it had blown up, let's say it was a big thing, I promise you, you would have not only seen Dave Foley and Corbell, you would have seen them all. They would have all been there. Sheehan would have, I mean, this was fucking Danny Sheehan's event, along with, fettuccine splits, wonderful design. Him and King Milford, I'm sure, came together on this stupid shit. And let's do this for Danny. Good old Danny Sheehan. He's a truth teller. Let's do it for him, man. Let's make this really shitty poster. Nobody showed up. Nobody. This was the most embarrassing thing. I mean, I'm getting a little shit from people. Oh, you just like being a dick, huh? Yeah, sometimes. I do like being a dick, especially when I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. They're treating you like shit. They're treating you like dummies. They're treating you like fodder and cattle and dollar signs. When they talk to you and interact with you and tell you to show up at fucking rallies and get you all riled up to weaponize your curiosity, you are a fucking dollar sign to them. They do not give a fuck about you. And it is clear as yesterday's rally. They do not care about you. They do not care at all. If they did, they would have been there with you. They would have been giving interviews to the New York Post. One of the funniest things that has been produced out of this whole thing is this moment right here. Jeremy Corbell, this is what your weaponized army is. This is amazing.
You're not from Green Street's paper, right?
Green Street's paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this, you guys. Schumer didn't even read this amendment. He didn't write the Schumer amendment. Some staffers wrote it for him. He didn't even fucking read it. And you're outside of his office with posters of Grush that says hero on it. A guy that has produced nothing as far as evidence is concerned. He's only produced secondhand stories. Trust me, bro, scenarios. Trust me, I've talked to these people. They've seen this stuff. UFO Shade with another, don't know, $5 says, they think they're all A-list celebrities. They do. They really do. Like, I think we talked about a few months ago. This was more than a few months ago when the whole, disclosure team and disclosure girls and the UK, misfits came out to some festival in Arkansas or Las Vegas or somewhere, and they put their faces on a billboard. Every single one of them walked out in front of that billboard and took a picture in front of it when their face popped up on it, because that was the pinnacle of their fame, being on a fucking electric billboard for a UFO convention. That is the pinnacle achievement for them. Look, Ma, I made it. How could you not laugh at this shit? I'm sorry. I'm not an asshole for laughing at this. I'm laughing at this because I used to be one of you guys. I used to think like you guys. And somebody was asking before in the chat about, and hi to the chat everyway, UFO Cholo, everyone that's here. The music that he put to that was so wonderful. Somebody was asking me about this vetted show. And I don't watch the show. I have no idea. But basically, they broke it down for me and were saying, oh, yeah, it used to be, he had no opinion on it. And now he's bought it full, hook, line, and sinker. and his show's blowing up and it's getting super popular. It's really simple. It's the same thing that happened to my show. It's the same thing that happened to Stephen Greenstreet's Basement Office. It's the same thing that happened to Matt Ford's show. It's the same thing that happened to Thomas Fessler's show. It's the same thing that has any time they have one of these people on their shows and they get these interviews or they start pushing this agenda or this idea or this propaganda in the pro-cult format, they get more views, they get more subscriptions, they get more donations, they get more Patreons. Again, you guys, like I've said and I've shown you how much money I've made off of these platforms when my show was pro-UFO propaganda. Not knowingly doing it, unknowingly, like genuinely trying to come at it from a neutral perspective. Had many voices on my show that added a lot of level-headed thinking and asked great questions, and I would always jujitsu those answers in my brain with my UFO brain as to, oh, they're just wrong. They're hating on this, or, oh, I heard this thing about this, this person. So therefore that point they made, I'll take it with a grain of salt. But then you start seeing the red flags for yourself. And then you start interacting with these people and you're interviewing these people and they're calling you their friends. And, they're like, oh, thanks, brother. Everybody calls each other brother. They're not your brother. They're not your friend. They're not your pal. You most of the time, in most cases, have never shook hands with these people, like cried in front of these people, been vulnerable in front of these people. They're not your fucking friends. They're just these people you met on the internet that just happen to be telling a story that you are enthralled with. And this is your Robert De Niro. This is Lou Elizondo is people's fucking, Kobe Bryant or Zeus or whatever idol you want to compare him to. And the moment that you badmouth that idol, you're out. You're out. And it's just funny that these guys are holding up posters of calling this guy a hero. I'm sorry, the manipulation of American citizens, the confession of that on shows, how you used your counterintelligence expertise to infiltrate the UFO community. You've never been a ufologist. You want to destroy ufology to a billion pieces. You only want your information out there and your narrative and your story. And anytime anybody dare question it, you send people like Fettuccine Split and his buddies King Milkfart after them. That's why I'm making fun of this stupid fucking rally. It's stupid and it's comical and it deserves to be mocked because there was zero thought, zero effort, zero imagination, and zero genuine care because the people who were fucking promoting it didn't show up. You're fucking heroes. So think about that next time you see me ranting or making fun of something. Fuck those guys. Fuck their rally. Fuck Fettuccine Split. Fuck Jeremy Corbell. Fuck George Knapp. I'm not there with you yet, Dave Foley, but I'm getting close. And this move, this not showing up move, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Sorry. Not sorry. It's so insulting, man. And you guys just eat it up. just keep advocating for it. Keep embarrassing yourselves for it. Keep alienating yourselves from family and friends for it. Keep destroying people over it. It's sick. It's a sickness. It's a cult. It is a cult. This was a really, really great clip from Stephen Greenstreet, and it's like, I think for him and for me, this is like, it's just one of these moments. I don't get it. Why are they confessing? They're not confessing, they're bragging. And that's from the film, I just forgot the name of it. But yeah, it's about the United States government shorting stocks on the housing crisis in the 2008 crash. Why am I forgetting the name of this flick? Anyway, awesome flick. Steve Carell, Brian Gosling. There's so heavyweights in this movie. Margot Robbie's in it. It's really good. She's not in it. It's a cameo. But anyway, you get my point. But this clip from this movie fits perfectly with what Christopher Mellon, people are finally catching up to this idea that Christopher Mellon is full of shit, just like his buddy Lou Elizondo. So listen to these sets of clips.
I received the videos, the now famous videos in the Pentagon parking lot. Somebody bent the rules a little bit, and they did so for the larger good. Everything that has happened to date has been from the bottom up. It's been from troublemakers and activists like Lou and me. We snuck these videos out, and I took them to the New York Times.
I don't get it. Why are they confessing?
They're not confessing.
They're bragging.
Right. They think they're heroes because they release these videos. They're the ones who's bringing attention to this hole in the national security apparatus. When it comes to Christopher Mellon, I cannot take that possibility out of play yet. But when it comes to Lou Elizondo, I have taken that possibility way out of play. Again, and I've explained this a million times, but for the new people, just the people that have been burned by Lou Elizondo are the countless, and the people that he's worked with that I've spoken to have all had terrible experiences doing so. And so now you've got Christopher Mellon bragging. He's bragging that he released these videos and that this was not about revealing UFOs, an alien presence. This was about national security. And here's the thing. They didn't lie about that. If you go back and you rewatch the first 2 seasons of Unidentified, they are very, 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 very clear. And this was one of the first red flags that I noticed. And I talked about it early in my channel's days. I broke down every episode of both seasons of that show. And the thing that I hated about it was the propaganda that was clear. This idea that all of these guys are heroes, all of these guys are superheroes, and none of them can be questioned because that American flag is behind them. You have to give them the courtesy of belief because of that. And that's the way those shows were set up. But with that said, they would always caveat things, just like Ross Coulthart does. When they talk about the aliens and yada yada, all of the fantastical stuff, they always either preface it or end it with alleged, or if it's not us, and I'm not sure, or I've heard, or I've been told. It's never I know. Never. So that way, when people go back and they go, whoa, you lied to Congress? You lied to lawmakers? You lied to the intelligence community? You lied to the American people? No. Go back and listen to what I said. I prefaced all of that stuff with if, man. And trust me, bro. I trusted the bro that told me, and I'm just telling other bros to trust me. That's it. And technically speaking, he's kind of right. And, so when it comes to Christopher Mellon, it wouldn't shock me if he was at the spearhead of the effort to really change things at a national security perspective when it comes to weird shit flying in our sky. Christopher Mellon, yeah, I'll buy that. Lou Elizondo, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. And I'm way on the fence, and I would even say I'm leaning toward Christopher Mellon is just full of shit, and he's just bragging. Now he's just bragging because the maybe he knew this going into it. There's no lose. If there's no aliens, we're national security heroes. If there is aliens, then we're world heroes. Win-win, as far as I'm concerned. Let's do it. Who do I got? All right, what tie do I got to put on? Where's my first interview? I'll tell them all about the aliens in the 3 videos. Let's go to the New York Times. We'll get Leslie Kane and Ralph Blumenthal on this one. Well, no. We're going to leave out the werewolves and smoking in trench coats and the dino beavers. We're not even going to mention OSAP. Maybe we'll put one blurb in there about it, okay? Okay, one blurb, but we're going to really just talk about and focus on ATIP, right? In the 3 videos. Okay, cool. Unreal, dude. Unreal. Okay, so The Guardian posted an article today talking about, actually had an interview with Sean Kirkpatrick, and this was written by Daniel Lavelle over at The Guardian, and I'll include this link after the show so you guys can go check it out for yourself. But this is a pretty good one. And the title of this one says, he quit heading the Pentagon's UFO office. Now a report of his has shaken up ufology. Sean Kirkpatrick has faced threats for his work, and a new report concluding no evidence of UAPs represented extraterrestrial tech has sent ufology into a tailspin. So clearly the mainstream media is starting to catch on to this a little bit, like we've been saying here now for the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since Kirkpatrick has come out and really engaged the media and engaged the public with questions. And now we're getting a little bit more movement on Twitter from the Aero office. So I think the media is now starting to, okay, this monster over here is moving around. Let's see what this is about. And when they actually find what the monster is, they'll just see nothing but a very, very serious and very scary national security scenario. But that's okay. We've only been saying it for 2 years here. No big deal. If you want goblins, ghosts, and fantastical bullshit, go over to Skyfire News. I know one of them's watching. So yeah, go check out their show. It's full of all of the propaganda and bullshit you can handle. Sean Kirkpatrick doesn't seem too thrilled to be chatting with me about UFOs since taking over the Pentagon's Aero office in 2022. Government speak for UFO hunting. Kirkpatrick has received violent threats, social media smear campaigns, and even had to call the FBI for a UFO fanatic showing up at his house. I've had some people threaten my wife and daughter, this is a quote, and try to break into our online accounts, far more than I ever had as a deputy director of the intelligence or of the U.S. Strategic Command, Kirkpatrick says. Quote, I didn't have China and Russia trying to get me as much as these people are. And those are the same people that are making bullshit posters like this. Well, this is the mock poster, but you guys know what poster I'm talking about. You know, like, they're all connected. They all serve the same fucking deity. That's crazy. China and Russia didn't try to hack and get as much information on Kirkpatrick as Sawan or whatever fucking maniac showed up at his house. Unreal. So after 18 months in the job, Kirkpatrick called it quits last December. Then last week, Aero published the first part of a report he had worked on that concluded there was no evidence that the United States government investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any sighting of UAP represented extraterrestrial technology. They concluded that there was no evidence. No evidence of any of that stuff. Arrow's conclusion sent the world of ufology, the study of UFOs, the practitioners of which are known as ufologists, into a tailspin. Oh my God. You got that? Like CNN brain will just call them fucking cult brains. That'll be the opposite, I guess, of CNN brain when it comes to Ashton Forbes. We'll call them cult brains. These are the chupacabras and the red panda koalas, like the practitioners of which are known as ufologists. They're just snake oil salesmen. After all, it was only in July last year that the former intelligence officer David Grush told a packed congressional hearing that for decades the U.S. government has been hoarding crashed alien spaceships and attempting to reverse engineer them. True believers thought we were getting closer than ever to full disclosure. It was only a matter of time until the government would wheel out the flying saucers onto the White House lawn. Kirkpatrick was watching that hearing over the course of 3 hours and via testimony from two former U.S. Navy fighter pilots, David Fravor and Ryan Graves. Congress heard about unknown aircraft making impossible maneuvers, or the government's possession of, quote, non-human biologics recovered from crashed spaceships. At one point, Representative Tim Burchett asked Grush if he had any personal knowledge of people being harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal ET technology. Grush replied, yes. Burchett then asked Grush if he had heard of anyone being murdered. The former intelligence official answered, quote, I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities, end quote. So yeah, I directed those people with that knowledge. Grush also claimed that men in black were on his case and were harassing other witnesses. Crucially, Grush said that he hadn't, and this is so fucking important, Grush said he hadn't seen the spaceships and, quote, biologics with his own eyes. Someone in the intelligence community told him the story. Naturally, Kirkpatrick tried to talk to him, and this is interesting here too, but although Grush has dropped most of these bombshells months before on the cable channel News Nation, when asked to discuss it with the one man in the U.S. government who really needed to hear the yarn, he was a no-show. Quote, we tried to reach out to him 4 or 5 times to get him to come in, Kirkpatrick says, and quote, as of the time that I left, he has refused to come in for a variety of reasons. So this whole excuse of, well, I don't trust Kirkpatrick, what about the new guy? You don't trust him either? Or you don't trust the whole office? Got it. Okay, got it. So all of those people that are in these offices that were your colleagues at one point, that are intelligence community officials, that are scientists, that are PhDs, none of those guys are trustworthy. They're all in on this. Got it. Got it. This is an interesting description of Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick, who has sharp features, a thin goatee, and speaks in measured monotone that makes even this topic seem slightly boring, says the evidence Grush, and I'll agree with that, says the evidence against Grush's claims is conclusive. Quote, there's no evidence to support any of the allegations or any extraterrestrial engineering or, quote, human biologics or whatever you want to call it, end quote, he says. Quote, you see, this story crops up every couple of decades, and it's pretty much the same story. And it comes, he says, from the ufologists who gave him such grief. A core of people that can only be described as America's new UFO lobby. So that's Matt Ford, that's David Grush, that's Lou Elizondo, that's Ross Coulthart, that's Jeremy Corbell, that's George Knapp. That's people like Darcy Weir and all the people, Gary Nolan, like all of those people that we've covered and all of these stupid foundations and all of these stupid things that are lobbying the government for millions and millions of dollars to study something that has nothing to do with aliens, as if they're going to be able to look at that part of the sky better than the United States military. It's insane. The 21st century's UFO craze began on December 16, 2017, after the New York Times reported that the Pentagon had created something called ATIP. This was supposedly a secret department investigating unidentified aerial phenomena. The Times piece also included 3 videos, the most compelling of which showed an object eerily similar to a flying saucer moving with no apparent means of propulsion. The story went viral and UFOs went mainstream. Serious people were now taking little green men in their spaceships very seriously. Including me, right? Including Green Street, including Greenwald, including so many people that started podcasts, started talking about this. That New York Times article gave people permission to talk about their experiences on a platform like YouTube. It really did. It really, really did. And I looked at people like Lou Elizondo as the inspiration to be like, fuck it, I'm going to do a show about UFOs. I think the time's perfect now. I don't think it's as taboo. I don't think it's as ostracizing as it was 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. If you were into this topic, you were in the closet. Like, you were very quiet about it. Now, you can be as bold and as brazen as you want. So bold and brazen that you could just make shit up and make a ton of money doing it. You know, people don't have that governor. When they start seeing money, it's very, very, very difficult to not keep pursuing that money and what gets you that money. And we're not talking about chump change here. If I infused an extra $150,000 of income into your everyday life, just by talking UFOs and not rocking the boat or asking tough questions and taking advantage of a group of believers, you can make some great money doing this. But you also have to have the commitment and the work ethic to do it. Like, it's not easy being a propaganda show. It's not. Like, it's hard to produce the Good Trouble Show. That takes a lot of work and a lot of discipline and a lot of man hours to sit there and produce. I appreciate all of that shit. I get it. But when you find out that you're doing all of that work, all of that prep, all of that inspiration is going into something that will never, ever, ever repay you back as much as you put into it, if you ever come to the day when you realize that, you're going to be fucking pissed. You're going to be really upset. Just like me. Just like me. You've wasted a lot of people's lives. You sent people down a path that they may not have gone down unless that 2017 article was written. And now here we are in 2024. The dust is settled. Nobody gives a fuck anymore, but the damage has been done. Significant damage. This conversation has derailed my life in a lot of great ways, but I think the bad ways outnumber the great ways. And that's why I take every opportunity to laugh at this, man. I do nothing but mock this now. Because that's the only thing I have left. It's the only power I have. You'll never be able to take that away from me. Making fun of shit like this. You're never going to take that away from me because it's pathetic. It's hilarious. It's funny. And it doesn't take a CIA psyop to organize laughter about this shit. It's just funny because it is. Because it's true. I mean, even when you hear people like Barack Obama telling the late night show with James Corden that things were happening in our skies that the U.S. government simply could not explain, is true, but it's also inferring. It's got heavy inference in this. And these words are in the wrong brains, in the wrong hands, are seething with conspiracy and confirmation that the U.S. government simply couldn't explain. So therefore, I'm going to make the leap. Gotta be alien, baby. Gotta be future people, baby. Gotta be the abyss, James Cameron, undersea creatures. Gotta be. As opposed to telling the American people, yeah, there are things in our sky that the government simply couldn't explain because there wasn't enough information, Stephen. But when we get enough information on the things that we can't explain, they usually turn out to be air clutter. They usually turn out to be balloons, high altitude balloons. Sometimes there are testing, and sometimes, on some occasions, they might even be our enemies. And we have to look at all possibilities. But I can tell you right now, the one thing that's not on the radar is aliens. I think that would have been a much better thing to say. Much better. I mean, it doesn't freak anybody out, but it gets people curious and asking, well, what does the president mean by that? Should I be asking my lawmakers about what cannot be unidentified and why can they not identify it? And how many of them are enemy drones or aircraft? And why are they there? I think that's a lot better than people calling into Congress and going, show me them aliens, man. Show me the aliens. I know you got them. You're hiding them. I don't believe you. The conspiracy stuff. It's way, way better than that. If you care about your country. The article goes on to say that, however, not everything in the Times story was accurate. Yes, the Pentagon did have a UFO program, but it was called OSAP, not ATIP, and it had bizarre beginnings. Seated next to Grush in that congressional hearing was George Knapp, a journalist who in 2006 wrote a book called Hunt for the Skinwalker, a shape-shifting witch in Navajo culture. Knapp's book tells stories of vanishing cattle, invisible objects emitting magnetic fields, and flying orbs zooming around the eponymous Skinwalker Ranch, a large property in Utah. And Stephen Greenstreet has absolutely covered this through and through beautifully. That shows the whole bullshit timeline of OSAP to ATIP to Arrow. And does it really well. The author goes on to write, the book has provided to be instrumental in modern ufology. It found its way to James Lakatsky, an intelligence officer in the Department of Defense, who was blown away by it and then contacted the aviation billionaire Robert Bigelow, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch at the time. Bigelow allowed Lakatsky to visit the ranch and investigate. One evening, Lakatsky claimed to see an apparition in the kitchen described in Knapp's and Lakatsky's 2021 follow-up book. They decided to fucking join forces like Voltron and give you skinwalkers at the Pentagon. A, quote, unearthly technological device is what he saw, which took the form of a complex, semi-opaque, yellowish, tubular structure. How spooky and mysterious. Ooh-wee, scary. Like, this is the shit, man. Like, this article is really good. And Kirkpatrick goes, I mean, look, like, if you're showing up at these rallies, I no longer have sympathy for you. I just got laughs, man. And if you're putting yourself in those positions and your heroes are saying, yeah, let's go, let's do it. Let the bodies hit the floor and then fucking leave you hanging in sub-degree temperatures. Right? they don't like you. They don't want to hang out with you. They don't even want to be fucking seen with you. And that rally shows, man. And this whole thing is so, it is, God, all of this, people holding signs of heroes in the streets, all of that shit leads back to this stuff. I'm not here. This is not happening with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. Since the UFO cult offers nothing but paranoia, mistrust, false hope, anger, and dissatisfaction, it's not a positive experience or offer anything of value. I agree. Totally agree with that statement. And let's make the statement a little smaller so we can get the whole thing in there. I tried to blow it up to see what that other one said, but I couldn't see it. But thank you for the donation. And yes, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. Totally agree with you. Time is it? 3:56? All right, we got an hour. And then I got to get out of here right on time today. I got no time to mess around. I got stuff to do. Let's see here. Let me check out. What else here? Oh, you know what? Before we get to Harloff here, thank you so much again for the dono. I appreciate it. Let me see here. Let's go back to bookmarks. Okay, we're here. There was a couple things I want to talk about. This was one of them. Okay, so Diana Pasulka wrote on March 20th, I interviewed a lot of people for the Oxford Encyclopedia entry for UFOs and UAPs. It is finally finished. It's being edited now, and much of it will be featured in this course. We're having fun putting this together. Oh boy, what's this all about, you say? Beyond the Stars, an online course about the UFO phenomenon. Officially opens June 24th. Opens for pre-purchase April 19th. Created by D.W. Pasulka and David Metcalf. Go to dianapasulka.com for more information. So let's go to D.W. Pasulka. Right? How do you spell her name? Pasulka? Oh, gosh. I think, right? Something like that. Yep, there it is. There's her Wikipedia. There's her. Okay, so here we go. So here's the website. And her courses. Let's check out her courses, okay? So upcoming courses, both online and Zoom courses. So I don't actually want to see you. No, thank you. So here are the courses. Women and their roles in early Christianity, a hidden tradition. Beyond the Stars, an introduction to UFOs and UAPs. Amazing. The February course sold out, but it was called The Original Red Pill, Allegory of the Cave, the Gospel of Jesus. And then we've got Apparitions for the Blessed Virgin Mary, History, Analysis, and Reflections. And so those are the courses you can take. So when you hit the sign up here button, here's how much the courses cost. So we've got The Hidden Tradition, Women in Early Christianity, taught by Diana Heath. It's now Diana Heath, formerly Welsh Pasulka. I guess she got married. And the class is $160. It's taught online via Zoom, and it's a 4-week class from 6 to 8 p.m. It's $160 if you're a Patreon member. If you're a Patreon member of Diana Pasulka, it's $160. If you're just some regular dickhead, you pay $15 more. General admission. Please note, all classes will be recorded for those who cannot attend live. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Oh my gosh. So, okay, so $175 for each course. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 courses so far. And I'm sure these will be adding more and more and more and more. So yeah, it's like $600-700 worth of classes. And I I'm sure I would think you get to ask questions in these classes, but I wonder if there's a time limit. Like, is a class an hour long? And then after the hour, she's like, peace out. You know, do you get to ask questions? Is it engaging? I have no idea. But yeah, so Diana Pasulka is now selling books and selling classes. She's gone full grift. She's done the Joe Rogan podcast. She's a producing consultant for Amblem's Encounter docuseries, which was #1 on Netflix, which is such a bullshit thing. She's got her books. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter who you are. The second you get enough following and influence, you start opening up different avenues, different streams of revenue immediately. Especially when you hit Joe Rogan status, right? DW Pasulka? Or is it Heath? I don't know. Now we're gonna have to go back and forth. It's dwpasulka.com, but don't call her that. It's Heath now, or whatever it is. It's, oh my God, dude. Enough of the name changes, people. If you're gonna change your name, just change it. Change the website. dwheath.com. Whatever. Ay. All right. So that's that. What's the other thing we want to talk about? Yes. I wanted to talk about this one really cool, amazing moment. And I think this was a huge win. And it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But it's the Expanding Frontiers Research post from March 21st. And this was a really, really, really awesome moment. So Expanding Frontiers Research writes, the Utah State Records Committee in Jack Brewer versus the Uintah County has ruled that Phenomenon contracts are not exempt from disclosure under the GRAMA. The records will be released in full, minus personal identifiable information as requested by Expanding Frontiers Research. So the Phenomenon, the whole Skinwalker Ranch thing, where they didn't want to tell people how much they were getting paid, how much they were paying Travis Taylor, how much Thomas Winterton was getting paid out, who's, by the way, daddy is a senator in the state of Utah. There's so many red flags as to how they got this phenomenon going in the Uintah Basin. And the only people that are really fighting this are Jack Brewer and Erica Lukes. And they're doing a hell of a job. And I just wanted to shout them out and say, this is amazing. Because I cannot wait to see how much Travis Taylor is charging to eat dinners with him at Phenomenon. Where he tells you the top secret stories, just like Grush going to billionaire penthouses, telling billionaires all the shit that he will not say in front of a camera, because you got to pay for those stories, dummy. You suckers. You suckers. And so now we're going to know them, and we're going to know where that, how and where those monies came from, how they were acquired, how much was acquired, how much was given to pay these guys versus how much was spent to conduct the Phenomenon itself. It's going to be interesting. And I'm over the moon for them. So I wanted to shout out Jack Brewer and Erica Lukes for that, because that's incredible. Incredible work. And I think anytime you can get transparency on UFO conventions is a good day. And it'll be a small little taste, a small little window into how much these guys make. And again, I would say pay attention to Travis Winterton's number because he organized it. And I would pay attention to Travis Taylor's number because he's a UFO celebrity and he's in like the middle rung of celebrities. I would love to know what he makes versus, say, a Linda Moulton Howe or, a David Grush going to private penthouses. I wonder how many private penthouse talks Lou Elizondo has done. Has he done any? Don't know. It's a good question. I wonder how many of those talks David Grush has done. He's clearly done one. according to the Danny Jones podcast when they were talking about him. So yeah, I'm curious to know. Curious to know. I gotta watch this clip again because it's so great. So great. Yeah.
You're not from Green Street's paper, right?
You're not from Green Street's paper, right? Yep. Yeah, we are. I'm gonna slowly walk away from you. All right. We got our 12 and 13 people out here. Let's get rowdy, baby. Woo!
You're not.
Woo! Love it. Love it. Okay, so there was this here too. I wanted to touch on this again because we covered this last year when Mick West highlighted this, and it's anytime you hear urgent and credible, I always think of this. Always think of this. And I just want to remind people again what this means. So Mick West writes here, let's be clear before today, and this was June 10th of last year. Okay, so almost a year ago. Let's be clear. Before today, claims were made that the ICIG had deemed Grush's claims of a secret ET crash retrieval program to be, quote, urgent and credible. And we still hear that today, that Grush's claims of an ET crash retrieval program are urgent and credible. Last year, we learned that urgent and credible was that Grush thinks something was concealed from Congress. That could be anything. And honestly, like, that could be anything. And that could be urgent and credible, but that doesn't make it alien. So when they asked their legal group, Compass Rose Legal Group was representing David Grush during this time of last year, they wrote, and Mick West highlighted here, the whistleblower disclosure did not speak of the specifics of the alleged classified information that Mr. Grush has now publicly characterized, and the substance of that information has always been outside the scope of Compass Rose's representation. We were not there to represent him about secrets on UFOs. He doesn't have any legal representation when it comes to that claim. Gee, I wonder why. Compass Rose took no position and takes no position on the contents of the withheld information. The ICIG found Mr. Grush's assertion that information was inappropriately concealed from Congress to be urgent and credible in response to the filed disclosure. Compass Rose brought this matter to the ICIG's attention through lawful channels and successfully defended Mr. Grush against retaliation. And so those things that were being withheld from Congress were probably in reference to the retaliation claims that they represented him on, not alien craft, because his lawyers didn't go there. They didn't rep him on that claim. So anytime you hear this urgent, credible thing, think of this. This is what urgent and credible means. But, you know, again, it's like you've got to say the truth 50 million times to get rid of the lie once, and then the lie just comes back tomorrow. Or in this case, 50 years, you know, this whole UFO craze. Yeah, man, it's just a shit show. Okay, so let's get into Harloff, because this is why I wanted to do the show today. We're going to get through as much of this interview as we can. We're going to go ahead and also include our fair use banner. This is transformative work. We're educating the public on the video that we are sharing, and we are critiquing it and highlighting things about it as well. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. And also want to let you guys know that I've got the link to the entire interview in the description below right now. So go check out that interview. This is an interview that Kristian Harloff normally is not a UAP guy. I was told a couple of months ago that he was getting into UFOs. and somebody told me to reach out to him. I was like, I don't know Kristian Harloff. I know we live in the same city. I know we're in the same business. I definitely has no clue who I am. And I don't really know who Kristian is other than outside of this, this sort of pop culture genre that he covers. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Again, this is like the title of this is not a diss on him. Being a useful idiot is something that a lot of people have fallen for unwittingly, including yours truly. And I see a lot of the red flags that I realized in myself literally happening. They're saying them out loud just in the first 10 minutes of this interview of how. We'll just go over it. I think if I was Kristian Harloff, I would shut down the UFO channel that he's starting on the side, which he's super excited about. And he talks about the very beginning of this video and how it's gotten to 15,000 subs. And now he's doing a separate channel for this. And every Tuesday, this normally pop culture channel is now dedicated to UFOs and the paranormal. And he's getting great interviews. He's getting interviews with Tim Gallaudet, and won't be surprised if you see David Grush on here at some point or whoever, because Kristian Harloff has 135,000 subscribers. He has a very big presence and online influence. And normally that's used in the world of, again, comic book movies and pop culture. I mean, look at his wall in the back there. It's similar to mine. Like he's got a script for Heat 2 on there. He's got of course, a UFO book now, but he's got The Watchmen, classic nerd shit. Bruce Lee, this dude is a pop culture nerd. He talks about movies. He reviews all of it. And I think he does that stuff very well, and he's very knowledgeable about that stuff. When it comes to UFOs, he has self-admitted, and this is the first thing he talks about in this video, that he doesn't know shit about this stuff. And the problem with that, Kristian, is that they are using your platform to push propaganda and lies and secondhand stories. And trust me, bros, and guys like you who do not know a fucking thing about this topic. And anytime somebody like a real rear admiral in the Navy shows up, you think that's a big deal. He was a meteorologist in the Navy. That's what his job was. Not to knock that or say that's not an important job, but he didn't see any USOs. He wasn't in the programs that reversed engineered USOs. He wasn't in the submarine when he wrote in his white papers about a churning in the Atlantic Sea with a USO in the middle of it. He was not there for any of that shit. These are stories that people told him and that he believes to be true. And they are on a mission to get Congress to give them money to study the USO phenomena or study the UFO phenomena or study the werewolves smoking in trench coats phenomena at Skinwalker Ranch. They just want to get government dollars to spend money on bullshit and fatten and line their own wallets. That's it. That's what's going on. And they're using your platform and your naivete to get that message out. And that's why I call you a useful idiot. It's not a personal attack. It's not me being mean. It's me trying to literally make a title and a headline and a picture that I hope and pray to God that you'll watch this segment and listen to this and go, shit, maybe I need to either have somebody on my show that knows what the fuck they're talking about, so when these people come on, the appropriate questions can be asked, or you really need to listen better to your guests. And I understand literally, I consider sometimes interviews of people you don't know as research. Like, even if the interview is happening live in real time. So he's literally researching these things as he's talking to Tim Gallaudet. He doesn't know shit about USOs. He didn't even know that wasn't even a thing on his radar up until a couple of weeks ago. So he needs to really have a very sharp ear, and it's very difficult to do when you have a highly respectable figure in front of you that has this high title and all of these badges on his lapel, but in layman's term is just a weatherman in the Navy, telling you all of these fantastical things. It's very difficult while you're producing and talking to somebody to actively listen and go, whoa, wait a second. You just said you didn't see any of that. So how do you know? You missed a lot of shit that Tim Gallaudet says. And like I said, either you have to take it upon yourself to listen better and ask better questions, or you need to take it upon yourself to have somebody in that fucking studio that knows the UFO history, knows the UFO lore. I'm in LA. I know that there's a lot of other ufology. Like, if you hate me, if you think I'm an asshole, I get it. But there's a lot of other people in this town that can sit in on these interviews, or at least prep some questions before these people come in that you can ask, or things to listen for that they say that you can go, oh, let me ask you about that. I know I don't know. I don't have a problem with you trying to learn about this topic, because it is confusing and it's fantastical and it's interesting and it's sexy. And it's like, oh my God, is this happening? The enormity of the prospect of if this is real. But I'm telling you, Kristian, it's not. It's not real. There are no scientists, serious scientists looking at this. There's a handful. And they're all connected to the same programs and the same people that we broke down in the Guardian article just now on this show. They're all connected to each other. They're all in this web of UFO lore, lies, bullshit, and trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. But as soon as you dig through this cobweb of bullshit, and it's not tough. If you have literally one of those bright green plastic shovels that kids use at the beach, you could dig right, you could splat these cobwebs right. It doesn't take heavy digging to get to the core truth of all of this lore. And you need someone on your show that is open-minded enough to be like, okay, well, maybe, which I think everyone here, I don't want it to be just maybe. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong on UFOs. I'd love for them to be here and hanging out. But I think something more terrifying and something that's more plausible is Iran, Russia, and North Korea have built drones that are infiltrating our Navy, Army, Marine, space assets and fucking with our national security system. And they design these things to look weird on purpose because we've stigmatized UFOs so badly in the United States military. And our enemies are taking advantage of that glaring hole. And all of this UFO talk is nothing but a scramble to patch that hole, or literally put bubblegum on a dam that's about to explode. That's what all this UFO talk is. Because again, the second that a UFO drone swarm slams into a heavy populated area or takes out a nuclear reactor that powers a part of the East Coast, I'm telling you, you're going to want to pay attention to this show. Because we've had the scoop on it for over 2 years, or close to 2 years, not over 2 years. But damn close to it. And we've been telling the truth here ever since we got a peek behind how the UFO sausage was made, behind the really, really heavy curtain that they keep this shit behind. And when you peek behind that curtain, man, it's just a bunch of fucking snake oil salesmen. all of them, and they're all connected, they're all buddies, they're all spinning different bullshit, and they try not to cross over one another, if you notice that as well, because one grift might budge up against another grift. That's why George Knapp and Lou Elizondo never talk about the obvious glaring problem with OSAP and ATIP. They don't want to call, Corbell and Knapp don't want to just straight up say, yeah, Lou Elizondo's full of shit. He's fucking lying about ATIP. Nobody ever gave him a dime to look at UFOs, and that's true. That's a fact, empirical fact. You cannot argue that anymore. But they can't say that publicly, because then that immediately undercuts their bullshit. Anyway, let's listen to Kristian Harloff.
All right. So, as I mentioned, I had an opportunity to take a look at this new documentary by filmmaker Darcy Weir. It's called Fast Movers and USOs.
Oh boy, Darcy
Exploring the
Weir.
Depths of the Unknown.
Don't get me started on believer Darcy Weir. His films are not extraordinary, and this is not a documentary. It's not a documentary. Okay, it's a fan fiction film. That's what it is. It's a fan fiction film powered by Trust Me Bro stories. That's all it is.
So it is a documentary journey into transmedium UFOs and USOs. And when I tell you that my mind was blown, it's an understatement.
And that shows me also that you have a belief system into this. You're not coming into this neutrally. You want to believe this, Kristian, and that's the biggest mistake you can make if you're going to host a show about this and have these people come on your show. Because as soon as they come on your show, you're not going to question the reality of it at all. At all. So that's why I'm suggesting to get somebody on your show that knows exactly what the fuck they're talking about.
As you and my guests might not even know. When it comes to you guys who've been watching my show, you know that I am not the I guess pun intended here, deep divers when it comes to the UFO USO topic. I'm new to this thing, man.
He doesn't know shit.
I believe that I am the type of person that our guests are trying to reach.
You're absolutely 100% right when you say that. You are exactly who Tim Gallaudet, the Soul Foundation, Gary Nolan, Lou Elizondo, George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, they all would kill to be on your show and will kill to be on your show. Because you are the perfect person for them to distribute their wares on. You're the perfect medium for them to do their fucking, Ginsu knife presentation. You're perfect for it because you don't know shit about it, as you just said, and these people are looking for you.
A freaking show on streaming, and I found a documentary that I've talked about, which is at the time it was called UFOs Exploring the Unknown. I watched all 6 parts, and I was like, at the time, I'm like, what is Ancient Aliens? What am I watching here? I was like, no, it's not that. It's very similar to my guest. One of my guests that I have today is military. With
so impressed by it.
Saying, look at the stuff that's going on that they're not telling you about. Pay attention. Ask questions.
This is a military guy. He's a rear admiral, not knowing what that is. Not diving into his resume and going, oh, he's a weatherman. He's a meteorologist for the Navy. The fuck's this guy know? What kind of access does a weatherman have to top secret information? I'm sure he does have some access to top secret information, I'm sure. But UFOs? USOs? The weatherman? You're the perfect person, Kristian. You're the perfect sucker. You're the perfect useful idiot.
Questions. As I tell you guys every week, ask questions. And that is what is being done right now.
Not if they're terrible questions. Not if they don't get to the core of the claims.
Watching this documentary, I knew a lot about the UFOs and UAPs. There's stuff flying around in the oceans too. And my guests are going to talk about this. And I am very, very, I'm thrilled to bring in both
filmmaker Darcy Weir and retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet,
who, if you know, you've seen him from the Saul.
Man, they edited that part in because he didn't know their names. He's literally looking up their names right now on a screen. That's how much research Kristian Harloff has done. Like, let's watch that one more time and understand that he pre-recorded this and went in afterwards and recorded the names of Tim Gallaudet and Darcy Weir. Just like I did. I had to look down and be like, Darcy Weir. Because I don't watch these guys work. Really know who the hell they are, and I definitely haven't looked up their resumes or looked up what other shitty films they've made. Shit, dude.
To bring in both
filmmaker Darcy Weir,
bring in both
and retired Rear Admiral.
Bring in both filmmaker Darcy Weir and retired Admiral Tim Gallaudet.
Tim Gallaudet,
who, if you know, you've seen him from the Saul.
If you know.
I'm so excited to have them both on. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here today. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for having us.
So there you go. You're perfect. I can't thank you enough. Oh my God. Thank you. No, dude, they should be thanking you. You're platforming them. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks, Kristian.
Yeah. So, Darcy, let me start with you, man. So you've been following the topic for a bit. Let me start with that. When exactly did you start getting into? I told you my story kind of briefly of how I've kind of come about it. How about yourself? How did you decide to start? You made quite a few films now about the subject.
Yeah, I actually approached this originally a bit of a sensational angle. My original documentary was about a guy that said he worked on building deep underground military bases, and not everything he said was true, but
you don't say, Darcy Weir, but you made the documentary anyway. I started out with a little bit of a sensationalist film, and then now I'm doing serious, very well researched films. Yeah, that's what I'm doing these days there, Kristian. Thanks for plugging my flick.
But I found it fascinating, the ideas that he presented back in the day when he was alive at these, grassroots conferences. And, he started actually speaking at a Bigfoot conference, and he became pretty sensational, pretty popular, and was speaking at all these UFO conferences, MUFON, that type of thing. And he eventually passed away, but his death was a little bit peculiar.
He's talking about Bill Moore, right? Chat, is he referencing Bill Moore here? The guy who, or maybe it's not Bill Moore, it's the other guy who had that deformed hand talking about fighting aliens, and he got hit with a laser beam by one of them through their chest or something. Is that who he's talking about here? Phil. That's his name. Phil Schneider. Phil Schneider.
And I followed the story of UFOs since I was probably about 19, 20 in university. So almost 20 years now. And I studied Life in the Universe, which is a book that they give out to you in Astrobiology 101. This was penned by Seth Shostak, and it writes about the fundamental reasons that we can't be alone in our universe. Like our galaxy alone, if you go by the Drake equation, there's got to be at least millions of civilizations like us in our own galaxy, in this star system, this ocean of stars that we are gravitating around. And I've just followed this this idea and this mystery that maybe, just maybe, we've been visited by an intelligence that's non-human, and that information has been kept from the public for many, many years now.
Right.
And you know, when I
you know that's how?
I was working on this documentary about USOs and just the phenomenon appearing in oceans, and I actually saw Tim Gallaudet speak on the Good Trouble show by Matt Ford, who's a very well-educated,
very well-educated,
guy.
Who has a ghostwriter on his show, supposedly. At least from the show that we watched. He's not very well educated on this at all. As a matter of fact, all of his claims about Mick West and this guerrilla skeptic group, when he had an opportunity to debate and show Mick West that how wrong he is and what a scumbag he truly is, he denied that request. Denied the request. Said, I don't want to platform Mick West. Buddy, he'd be platforming you. He's got quadruple the following you do. You're not platforming anybody, Matt Ford. But hey, you're getting a shout out by these three morons, so you must be doing something right.
He used to produce and work with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
You know.
He's doing great stuff over there.
He was a lighting technician for Bill Maher. He was a lighting director for Bill Maher, a lighting guy. He didn't write the show. He didn't do research. He didn't talk to fucking Bill. Bill didn't know his name. I promise you. Like, maybe knew his name. I don't see Bill Maher being the kind of guy who's like, oh, well, what's your name, lighting guy? One of 400 people on my set. I've been to a taping of the Bill Maher show. So we were in that theater at the same time, apparently. If he worked on the show. It's so stupid, like, to throw that out there. Is that's like his check mark of credibility. He's been pitching the Matt Ford UFO show around Hollywood, and people are not biting. They're not biting. No matter how well produced and how well written and whatever guess he gets, they're not biting. Maybe you'll get a job with News Nation, Matt Ford. You know, he's such a liberal. I'm sure he'll fit perfectly on News Nation.
And so I reached out to actually Matt, and I said, I don't know if you'd be interested in sharing me, just the email of Tim. I'd love to introduce myself to him. I'm working on this project, and I think his voice would be very important in it because I think he's intelligent and credible, and he has a lot to offer if there's something truly going on in our oceans. And he was like, sure, I'll give you the email, but no promises. This guy's, pretty busy. So I wrote to Tim, and sure enough, he was happy to meet with me and flew out to Washington, D.C., and the rest is history.
It's great history. And Tim, I got to tell you, first of all, and as Darcy is saying that, I feel the same, and I'm honored that you joined us here today on the show. And I have been aware of you, and as you mentioned off air, I covered the Saul Foundation, and I covered your presentation, and I'd actually like to start with that, if that's okay. Sure. When it comes to the Saul Foundation and a lot of that stuff that came out, and I'm glad that I get a chance to talk to you, because I said if I talked to anybody who gave one of those presentations, it would be the first thing I asked. The presentation you guys shot it in November. It was before the Schumer Act was kind of was watered down, if you will. Right. And there was so much emphasis on how important that the Schumer Act would be. How much of a setback, in your estimation, do you think
Schumer didn't read or write it, and not one senator sitting on any proper committee came out in support of it? Not one.
Was that it was watered down, and were you guys expecting that to happen at all?
Well, it's a big setback for disclosure and for the public's understanding of what UAP actually are, because our government knows what they are. They really don't know what they are, but they have more information than the public. That's
was that a slip up?
Or understanding of what UAP actually are, because our government knows what they are. They really don't know what they are, but they actually are, because our government knows what they are. They really.
Maybe it's just a slip up. That eye roll.
Understanding of what UAP actually are, because our government knows what they are. They really
Our
don't.
government knows what they are. Do you think Kristian Harloff knows that some of the most advanced torpedoes on the planet, and this is just shit we know, fire laser beams when it travels through the water to heat up the water in front of it so it creates a pocket of air so it can travel faster? And that's just the shit we know about. So when Tim Gallaudet slips up like this, I think he does mean it. I think he does mean when he goes, oh, our government knows what these things. I mean, they don't know what they are. Sorry, Kristian. You guys catch that one?
Understanding of what UAP actually are, because our government knows what they are. They really don't know what they are, but they have more information than the public. That's for sure. And we were really hoping the Schumer amendment, that would the UAP Disclosure Act of it, would get signed into law, and that's just not the case. So it's a setback. I mean, I think it's going to take time. The fact that it was written with all the terms.
Kristian, according to the Soul Foundation, it's going to be December 31st, 2035 is the targeted disclosure date. So 11 years, roughly. A little over 11 years.
Terms like technology of unknown origin, non-human intelligence, UAP, is in itself a pretty monumental breakthrough. So we have to at least appreciate that. But yeah, a bit disappointed. We all hoped there was a collective energy in at that conference for it to pass and for us to move forward and increase our understanding of UAP. But yeah, we're just going to have to take a longer view here and keep pressing on.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem. I mean, as I told you guys as I was introing this, that as you guys are on the front lines, I'm watching here, essentially unplugged from the Matrix, if you will.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, you're Neo. You see it all except for the grift. These guys. Has Tim Gallaudet even seen the Matrix? Darcy, you better have. If you haven't, I'd be pissed.
Trying to there's so much coming in, and that's why when I see this about the USO stuff, and I'm like, guys, I'm just trying to catch up with the UAP stuff first.
Wait, so you're not Neo? Not the man?
And now there's these just a fascinating report. So Tim, if you when you first. And you talk about this in the docs, when you first discovered that this was going on, were you a skeptic of this before your first kind of awareness of it?
No, I was pretty open to it.
Nope, wasn't a skeptic of it at all. It's okay to be open to it, and it's not a bad thing to say, I don't believe it's true because I haven't seen the evidence yet, but I'm open-minded enough to say, well, it's possible. Nothing wrong there. But to this answer, the way you put it here, simply no. No. I am skeptic about this. Didn't cross my mind once, because I believe this shit, Kristian. Just like you. Just like Darcy up there. And that's what we call... I was going to do a Brady Bunch reference there, but that's what we call the Believer Bunch. The Believer Bunch. Do-do-do. That's the way we became the Believer Bunch. There was this dude who had a show. People would come to watch movies and stuff. Then this other filmmaker got his ear and brought this Navy guy. Then they started to talk about underwater UFOs. They circle jerked each other into a frenzy. They all love each other like their mothers. And this is how they became the Disinformation Bunch. Disinformation Bunch. Yeah. Improv.
before your first kind of awareness of it?
No, I was pretty open to it. Of course, as a kid,
not skeptic at all.
Shows and programs like Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of that would treat UFOs. And
he loves this shit.
That didn't.
He's whipping out Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of. This guy's into this shit. Always has been. Maybe even joined the Navy to find out. And he would take anything that came across his desk as mysterious and immediately label it as UFO. Because Leonard Nimoy, bro, In Search Of. Trust me, bro, it's all real.
That actually interested me. I never pursued it with any kind of seriousness until I was the superintendent of the U.S. Naval Observatory. And as we were talking off air, I got to appreciate how large the universe was, and all the astrophysicists who work for me. I just learned a great deal about 100 billion stars in our galaxy and over 100 billion galaxies in our observable universe. So I was pretty certain it was arrogant for us as a species to think we were all there was in terms of intelligent life.
That's a true statement. But it's a whole nother leap to go that intelligent life is coming here to kidnap cows and steal their asses and lips and put a probe up your ass. Just my guess, though.
Then, of course, you might have seen it's been on a lot of different shows that I saw the Go Fast video before it was released.
Yeah.
I received it on the Navy Secret Network, and that just convinced me that
the Go Fast convinced him. Oh, this is real, man. That's a Navy video looked at by a Navy admiral. And when you do the math on it, when you do the trigonometry like the Pentagon did, like NASA did, like Mick West did, that Go Fast object is going 45 miles per hour. So that very mundane object convinced this guy that the UFO phenomenon is real. It's 100% real, man. There's nothing else you can say or do. I'm in, baby. And the government totally knows what these things are. I mean, doesn't know or have a good grasp of what these things are. You ready? Let's go. Let's do this, baby. And Kristian Harloff doesn't know that Go Fast is going 45 miles per hour. Does Darcy Weir? I have a feeling Darcy Weir does, but nobody in this conversation, and this is why you need somebody to fucking listen to this show while you're doing it, to whisper in your ear, Kristian. Hey, by the way, they did the trigonometry on Go Fast, and it's actually only going 40 miles per hour. And it was confirmed by Mick West, NASA, and the Department of Defense. You might just want to tell Tim that. You might want to tell Tim that the Go Fast is actually going really fucking slow. Really slow. Not fast at all. It should be called Go Mundane.
we weren't alone.
Yeah, and Darcy,
that convinced them we were not alone, man. The object moving at very terrestrial speeds, but because of parallax, and I'm a fucking weatherman, I didn't get that. And I refuse to acknowledge NASA, the Department of Defense, or Mick West when they do the trigonometry on that video. Refuse, not looking at it. La, 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 la. That's Tim Gallaudet. They're real, man. We're here. Bill, look at all the billions and billions of stars. They gotta be here, man. I mean, what?
So like because you guys cover that in the beginning of the doc as well, and when you're hearing these stories about the Go Fast video, and then when you look at it, because you cover so much in this, Darcy, that when you get and you look at these reports now that are coming out from Arrow and how that they're saying they didn't put in the report NHI, they said no alien life, which to me I think that's just them covering their rear ends down the line. But
see, and this just goes to show how naive he is about this topic. Christian, for the last 70 years, they've been screaming for the government to say alien. Well, just say alien in the goddamn report already. Just say it. I think they put the word alien and extraterrestrial in that report somewhere around 40 times. And now the new guy comes in and he says, well, wait a second. They didn't rule out NHI. Buddy. Yes, they did. NHI, ET, it means the same thing. They are ruling out extraterrestrial. The reason why they use that language is to make it clear to these morons that there's nothing there, but they just don't get it. They don't look at it. They ignore the math. And you're coming in here, there's still hope, boys. Don't worry about it. They didn't rule out NHI. There's still a shot. Okay, Jim Carrey. Okay.
For you, when you're hearing this, are you confident enough to say, Darcy, that this isn't, from what your research, that this isn't foreign craft, this isn't anything but, whether it is NHI or something else too, this is how confident you are from the research that you've been doing on these documentaries?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's not.
Put a percentage on it, Darcy.
I remember when
pretty confident.
Like, skeptics.
What's pretty confident? 90%, 95%, 99%, or is it 100%? Let's be clear, it's 100%. Pretty confident. You refuse to have a rational conversation about this. Just like everyone else in this topic that's a nice guy. He's so nice, man. No, I'm not a bad guy as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. I don't care how nice you are anymore. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, especially when you're providing arguments that are fucking bullshit. That are bullshit. Like, none of these questions that have been asked have cut to any truth whatsoever. And we're 13 minutes into it.
Scrutinizing the Mosul orb and such. Recently, in the past couple months, I think it was Mick West or somebody put forward that, it's just this Chinese drone. Look, they have this new sphere that they've been building, and it's metallic and it's got cameras on all ends and it can fly around. Look. But
that wasn't Mick West. That was the Department of Defense. That's what they said was the sphere within the cube that Ryan Graves got the secondhand story from his fellow pilots from. The sphere within the cube was a experimental drone that is highly maneuverable and has all of those things that you just said.
With that is that orb, if you look into the specifications for it, it flies for about 20 minutes indoors, not over the ocean in the middle of nowhere for miles and miles and miles, which is where the Go Fast object was flying that Tim Gallaudet witnessed, right?
He didn't witness it. Like, and I love how Tim just like, yep, sure did witness it. Sure did.
Was flying that Tim Gallaudet witnessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just these.
Tim Gallaudet didn't witness that. It came across his fucking information feed, and he saw it on a government server, and that convinced him. And here we are, more than a decade later, and it's moving slow, and you guys still are calling it the Go Fast. And now Tim Gallaudet witnessed it. And Christian's like, I mean, just Christian's mind is absolutely going, oh my God, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Can you guys believe it? Tim Gallaudet witnessed it. And then when he goes out to dinner with his buddies, like, man, you guys wouldn't believe it. I had this Navy Admiral guy on. Holy shit, he witnessed no, he told me he witnessed the fucking go fast, man. The go fast, it was going so fast. This is why you need to stop, Kristian Harloff. You're being used because you are naive. You're a useful idiot on this. Sorry, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you are. And it's bad. It's really bad.
Comparisons that are constantly made by the skeptics and debunkers that do not match up with the flight capabilities of these things that are being witnessed by credible witnesses that are from the Navy.
Let's be 100% clear. The flight characteristics, the sharp turns, the right angles, the low visibility, the high acceleration, all of those things are very much within not only the United States hardware apparatus when it comes to our military, but it's also in the hardware of our enemies. And they're using it thousands of times per year to spy on us and collect data. And at some point, they're going to use those systems to attack us. And you're going to be sitting over here making films about UFOs and USOs that have zero facts and check shit. As a matter of fact, we've made now Tim Gallaudet the witness to go fast. Unreal.
From the Air Force, all of our security, intelligence, and defense agencies. And in this documentary, I did cover the DHS, Department of Homeland Security videos that came out.
Oh, God.
Originally, those
this
were
is
leaked
great.
by my friend Andy Marciel.
Andy,
who has just a
that's the guy who released those shitty, grainy, blobby fucking DHS videos of the border and that drone that is a drug cartel drone. There are highly powerful, commercially available drones that fly for hours, not minutes, hours. And they use those drones to smuggle drugs over the border. And that's what those videos were. And this guy is like, oh, they're the bee's knees, everybody. These blobby, bullshit, shitty videos. And then the other video that he popped out of a gunner on a helicopter. I remember, goddamn, dude. And they were birds. They were fucking birds, okay? And they were literally in the audio of this video. One guy was a trained pilot and the other guy was training. And the guy who was training mistook birds over the runway for UFOs. He thought he was looking at something weird, and he wasn't. He fucking wasn't. He was looking at fucking birds. And then that video is put out on the internet in that clipped form. And all of a sudden, there's UFOs and pilots don't understand what the hell they're looking at when they definitely are. They definitely are. Some of them. And the ones that are in training are learning. And even the ones who are best trained misidentify things all the time. All the time. That's why they don't trust pilots' eyes and experience. That's why they have billions of trillions of dollars worth of research and development of sensors in that craft that measure everything and see all. So give me a break. Give me a break with this shit.
A small following on Instagram, NYUAP discussion. A DHS agent became interested in him because he saw him as somebody that was credible, that seemed very intelligent, could scrutinize things. Andy went about the right way of releasing those and had them scientifically analyzed by the SCU, the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. And this is like panel of very intelligent.
Oh my God, dude. It's a panel of believers. And Andy got fucking roasted because the internet figured out all of those videos in minutes. He got roasted. And I remember having a conversation with him, and I believe it was Carl the Crusher. We were discussing these videos, and and he's like, hey, I'm thinking about putting out, and he's showing me these videos before he releases them. And I'm telling Andy, I'm advising Andy, I said, look, dude, if I'm being honest with you, I don't see one of the 5 observables in this video that you're showing. If I were you, I would privately run this by Mick West and have him take a look at it before you publicly put this out there and once again get lambasted for putting out bad information. And what did he do? What did he do? What did he do? The guy that they're talking about right now, he ignored me, released the video, and got fucking destroyed for it. But now, a year and a half later, after all of those, Kristian doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just hearing this as a story. This is a trust me, bro story that Kristian is buying hook, line, and sinker. Oh, DHS videos? Oh, what? Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies? A group of really intelligent guys? Tell me more. It's a circle jerk. This whole thing is a it's a twisted Brady brunch. It really is. It's so stupid. And that's the time we have today. Like we only got 15 minutes into this, and the information in the first 15 minutes of this is useless and terrible. It doesn't get to the core of any truth whatsoever. It's just propaganda. It's just a way to spread the message and raise money to look at things that aren't there. Why? Because fuck you, give me your money. Simple as that. Fuck you, give me your money. And I guess a lot of people want that. Yeah, I guess that's the thing to do now. You don't get any return on any of these investments, man. Not a bit. Is that loud? Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, thank you all so damn much for coming to hang out here on this Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying the schedule. I am. It's been fun. First week of the new schedule. Hope this works for you. If you're new to the show and you've stuck around this long and you like what you see, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Share the show. Tag Kristian Harloff and give him the timestamp of when we started talking about him if you want. Because he needs to be made aware of how useful of an idiot he is becoming. And if anybody knows him, you guys need to get a UFO fact. If you're going to do this show, you need to get a UFO fact checker on it. And if I could recommend anyone, I would say Emily Louise. Hire her to sit there and listen to your guests and give you the questions that should be asked of them. And I promise your show will be infinitely better for it. And you'll not only learn what's happening, but you'll be able to keep a level mind and head about it. Because I think you have a great platform to talk about this if you're doing it the right way. But all you're doing right now is being a vessel for propaganda and conspiracy thinking. And all of this shit leads to lizard people and lawmakers drinking blood and Pizzagate kind of shit. The deeper you get into this, man, you're going to find these people that will show up to your house and threaten you because maybe you change your mind on this down the road. But by then, it's too late. It's too late. So anyway, that's the show, you guys. Want to say thank you to everyone again. Reckless Ryan, Moondust, Bobby Broadway, Wise Monkey, Michael Huntington. The donations that we got today, thank you so damn much. Jason Brown, let's see here. The contactees were right. Who's 75 YBA? All you guys, thank you all so damn much. Appreciate it. If you if you really love the show, and if you want to support the show with the almighty dollar, we've got a Patreon in the link below, so go check it out. Once again, thank you for embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for subscribing to Lou Reviews. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Not sure what we're going to be talking about then, but I'm sure there'll be something. There always is. There's always something to help correct or course correct or rectify or just call out. And, hopefully this hits the right ears at the right time. And maybe people will start looking at this in a much more serious way, with a little bit more level-headedness and rationality. Anyway, you guys, I love you all. Have a great weekend. Peace out. Long live the neck. Long live the neck.